The former president Donald Trump making history in New York City today as the first former president to stand trial on criminal charges.
Yeah, jury selection started just recently, hours later than it was expected to. For most of the day, there were pre-trial motions that gave a glimpse into just how contentious this trial will be.
Yeah, Pix 11's Henry Rossoff is live outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan to give us an update. Henry.
Well, quite a scene out here in Lower Manhattan with a spattering of protest activity, and especially in here with the former president, the first to stand trial in American history. And you have security that befits that. And again, remember, this is a man who wants to be president again. He's standing for 34 counts of falsifying business records, and all of that allegedly, according to the Manhattan DA, is to cover up affairs in the build-up to the 2016 election. Before he even stepped foot inside the courtroom today, take a listen. He tried to paint all of this once again, without evidence, as a conspiracy against him.
This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
With that, former President Donald Trump sauntered into the old 15th floor Manhattan criminal courtroom where his historic trial is happening. He took the seat he will occupy for much of the next 6 to 8 weeks with a scowl fixed to his face while he sat squinting at most of the day looking at a computer monitor in front of him. Mr. Trump occasionally conferred with his defense team as they and lawyers for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who was in the courtroom, worked through often uncomfortable motions ahead of jury selection. Judge Juan Merchan says he will allow the testimony of Karen McDougal, who says she had a year-long affair with Mr. Trump, though the judge says mentioning that all of this supposedly happened while former First Lady Melania Trump was pregnant goes too far. The judge also reiterated that the infamous Access Hollywood tape may not be played in the court because it would too badly bias the jury, but the tape and reaction to it may be described in open court. Finally, before jury selection, the district attorney's office asked that Mr. Trump be held in contempt for violating a gag order that blocks him from disparaging witnesses in the case. Prosecutors want him fined at least $1,000 for each of 3 Truth Social posts and warned that prison time could be coming next if he continued to go after former fixer and attorney Michael Cohen and adult film star Stormy Daniels. Cohen says he paid Daniels on behalf of then-candidate Trump to cover up an affair, and the statements made around those payments are at the heart of this case.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here.
And the lengthy jury selection process finally, after all of those motions I was just telling you about, got underway. The first batch of about 96 prospective jurors were brought into the courtroom. I can tell you there were some audible gasps and pointing when they realized who was in the defendant's chair. And then when the judge formally introduced former President Trump, he turned around, kind of gave a half stand and smirked at the jurors. And about half raised their hand almost immediately when they were asked, regardless of their political views, if they could be biased or if they could do this fairly. When they raised their hands, the judge allowed them to be dismissed, and then they moved down along the process. So quite a scene unfolding right here as people walking into, average New Yorkers walking into a criminal trial that they can barely believe that they may be part of themselves. Live in Lower Manhattan, Henry Rossoff, Pix 11 News.
All right, Henry, before we let you go, how long do you expect the jury selection to actually last?
Well, it's hard to tell, but this is going to be, as I just described, a very slow process. Up to 500 people will be standing by every day. We only saw about 200 standing by today because it was only a half day of jury selection. There's this extensive 42-question questionnaire that everyone has to fill out with a number of sub-questions trying to determine political bias, all without asking who you actually voted for. Then each individual juror can be questioned for up to 30 minutes. We're trying to get to a place where we have 12 jurors and 6 alternates. The lawyers have speculated that this could take a week, 2 weeks, but it's really how many jurors they're picking up. I can tell you so far, in the hour or so they've been at this, they have yet to name a single juror. Live in Lower Manhattan, Henry Rossoff, Pix 11 News.
Yeah, the trial itself expected to last another 6 weeks. Henry, thank you, and stay with us on air, online at pix11.com and Pix 11 Plus for the latest in the former president's criminal trial.